think it's finding out what your normal is. So there's quite a big difference in between what is considered normal. So it's up to 3 times a day and up to 3 times a week. But I also think it's about knowing what the consistency of the stool is like. And there's a Bristol stool chart, which I saw lots of people have seen. So if it's hard, dry little balls, that's more towards constipation. So we want it to be like long, thin, like sausage. You've also got to think about your seated position on the toilet, because that's really important. So it's just having your knee slightly higher than your hip and leaning forward a little bit. And what that does, that helps to straighten out the angle of your bowel so as you get more downward pressure, because we don't want you straining and putting pressure on the pelvic floor. Sometimes if you're not sure, it is good to keep a bowel diary so you can assess what is your normal, and if it falls within those parameters, then that's fine. If it doesn't, if you're not going enough, and using the Bristol stool chart that maybe you're constipated, it might be looking at your diet, looking at your exercise, and maybe you might need some medication to help you. So seeing your GP to discuss any sort of problems there. Sometimes what can happen is if you've got a very hard, dry stool, the body is actually quite clever, and it tries to compensate. So you get water drawn from the bowel into the stool. So you've got this hard plug that's sat there. Everything above that will start turning to liquid, and that sometimes can leak around. So people think they've actually got diarrhoea, but that isn't. That's what we call constipation with overflow. So it might be that you need some medication to help you clear your bowel and then get back into a regular pattern.
So one of the most important things with bowel health is to make sure, again, that you're drinking enough. Particularly if you are having a tendency to constipation, it's really important that you check you're having enough fluid before you think about changing your fibre. Otherwise, you can actually make the situation worse. A really nice way to picture it is a bowl of Weetabix. So you put your Weetabix out with some milk on, and then you get distracted. When you come back to it, it looks like concrete. And that's similar to what can happen in your bowels. So if you're having lots of fibre but you're not drinking enough, you can actually make yourself even more bunged up. So when you're thinking about what to eat, it's really important that we have enough fibre in our diet, and the majority of the population in this country don't. So we are looking at the 5 a day saying, which I'm sure everyone is well aware of. All fruits and vegetables are brilliant sources of fibre, as are your whole grain cereals, beans, pulses, and foods like that. There's 2 types of fibre that we normally hear about. One is insoluble fibre, and this is the type of fibre that when your food's been digested, still remains at the end. It's like the skins on a jacket potato, the skin on an apple, that sort of more piths and skins. And then you've got soluble fibre, which is a slightly different type, which when it goes into your large gut, it sort of turns more like into wallpaper paste, so sort of splodgy. Soluble fibre is really important because it's a bulking agent as well, but you need both types. And most foods do contain a little bit of each type. So I say the advice is go for your whole grain choices and really, really focus on eating your 5 a day in your fruit and vegetables. Another really good one that is more popular at the moment is flaxseed and linseed. They're the same thing, they're just different names. And they are really, really good. And you can add a couple of teaspoons to your cereal or to salads. Start maybe with half a teaspoon and build it up. But again, you must be drinking plenty before you increase things like flaxseed. The other thing that's people hear a lot about is your actual gut health and the microbiome in your gut, which is basically where your large intestine is full of lots of different bugs. And we know that having a healthy gut microbiome is really, really important, both for your gut health, but it affects all different aspects of our health. So again, you want to keep those bugs happy. And one way of doing it is eating a good variety of your fruit and vegetables. We often say eat a rainbow, so eat all the different coloured. And there's certain fruit and vegetables that we call prebiotics, and they include some slightly weird things, not weird, but less commonly eaten, like asparagus, but also bananas and oats as well. And when you eat these and they get digested, they reach the large intestine, and the bugs down there think it's party time. And they are so happy that then they ferment these, and then they multiply, and you get even more of your good bugs. So really important you have a good varied diet. I often get asked about food intolerances and gut function and constipation and diarrhea. And for some people, they are sensitive to certain foods, particularly they might have a condition which is irritable bowel syndrome. If you are concerned, then it's well worth having a chat with your GP just to check there's nothing more serious going on. If you do have irritable bowel syndrome, then again, keeping a food diary can sometimes identify the culprits. Or if you are particularly sensitive to certain foods, then you might need to seek a little bit more guidance to identify those foods that don't suit you. But don't go cutting out lots of different foods without advice.
Exercise and just generally moving is really important in terms of maintaining your bowel health. So there's lots of thoughts around whether you should be doing specific types of exercise or certain types of movements, and does that mean that that's going to have a positive impact on your bowel health? I think it's really important to kind of consider what is right for you. So if you're an early morning exerciser, what you may find is that once you've got up, you've had your cup of tea or your cup of coffee, and then you start exercising, you may find that that actually stimulates you in terms of a bowel movement. And that may be what's quite normal for you. So it doesn't necessarily mean to say it has any relation to your MS diagnosis at all. It's quite common that the bowel is more active about 20 to 30 minutes after eating or drinking. And that doesn't necessarily have to be your breakfast. That can be at any point during the day. As Grace alluded to earlier, normal can be anything up to 3 times a day. And our general kind of eating regime is 3 meals a day. So it kind of relates all to that. One of the key things as well, this is quite a kind of controversial thought process, and I'm not sure that there's a lot of evidence to support it, but standing and in relation to improving bowel function. So there was a thought process that if you spend a lot of time sitting, standing will help from a gravity point of view, but also kind of just a general relaxation of your alimentary canal and the whole kind of digestive system. And in my opinion, it makes sense that if you've spent a lot of time where everything's kind of congested and squashed down, when you're then standing, it has that opportunity to relax and elongate, which in theory would then help with a